Hey, peace, peace, world. My name is Wood. Thanks for pressing playing another Pay Me No Mind Sports and Entertainment. Got to get into some bite down boxing. A couple days later, still seeing what's going on with Terence Crawford, who just successfully defended his WBO welterweight title against Kell Brook in a phenomenal fourth round TKO, and gets him out of the way, you know, celebrates normal and, talks his trash afterwards and acts like a champion afterwards. And, we get the odd moment with Bud and Bob Arum shoulder to shoulder doing the post fight interview. And then, Bob has to get in his promoter bag and start talking. All the time, all the while, a lot of stuff has happened, or so we're learning. So look, I'm gonna get into 5 points. I'm not gonna spend a whole lot of time on all of these. I just had to weigh in on it just because. Um, One thing here is this they mentioned it on the telecast. This letter that Bud's attorney sent to they sent a copy of it, of a letter that was sent to Top Rank. They sent a copy of that letter to the Athletic, voicing the displeasure of Floyd with being the way that he's being promoted, or the opponents that he hasn't been able to get, or that Top Rank hasn't been able to secure for him, and the reason that the big fights haven't happened. I think right there, is a smack in the face for that to happen this week, for you to share that with the Athletic, and for it to have happened on fight week in a very meaningful fight. Um, that's not a great business move in my opinion. But you got to do what you got to do. Another thing is point number two. We got to take a look at, maybe pump the brakes a little bit and see what happens with the outcome of Errol Spence Jr. and Danny Garcia, which is December 5th, I believe. The wrong thing happens there, this problem might go away in a way. Being great on fight week, making weight, and being excellent on fight night, those things alone in boxing, they just aren't gonna cut it. Number four, and really isn't in any order, but I also saw a part of a Mike Coppinger article on the Athletic, and it mentioned that Bud didn't send a signed contract for this Brook fight until that Top Rank and the ESPN executives and whatnot. This was all confirmed or finalized during the actual telecast or broadcast of Lomachenko and Teofimo Lopez, Vasily Lomachenko, Teofimo Lopez. Also questionable business, and especially when we get out here and you got brothers steadily talking about he's not promoted well, they don't do enough. Well, he kind of shot himself in the foot here to a certain degree. Maybe you disagree with that, I don't know. But you got to use that momentum from that Lomachenko night, the Lomachenko Lopez night. You really can't afford to go into that with them not being able to roll out the promotion properly. He was there for the Jamel Herring fight. I'm sure there was a way for it to have been approved, for him to have been in the building to start promoting the fight with Brook. But that's how they chose to handle it. The timing again is questionable. And then he's not the right. I mean, he hasn't gotten the right dance partner. So with him already having, not the greatest charisma, not the best personality, not the most outgoing personality, just not being this bigger than life figure. He's also not benefiting from having the right dance partner to make, to be the other side of the story here. So, what was it? So I saw this Michael Benson tweet that's getting quite a bit of talk right now, as well as there's some audio, I guess, from barbershop conversations with Fred, some audio with Arum on there. But Bob went in. He's punching back. And the Michael Benson tweet is he's got to promote like Lopez does, Teofimo Lopez, Shakur Stevenson does, like Mayweather did, Pacquiao did. If he doesn't, then who the F needs him? He may be the greatest fighter in the world, but hey, I ain't going broke promoting him. Now, it's crazy in that, like I'm always pointing out, hypocrisy. Um, how could you tell him what he needs to do about it with the word promote when you are the promoter? That's kind of astonishing right there. But I'll say this though. I didn't see whether or not Bud went on First Take last week during the ESPN car wash. I'm not really sure that he went on there. I know he went on Max on Boxing, but I don't believe I found any clips, and I might have missed it that day while I was working. Whether or not he showed up on First Take, did he go on Sports Center? You know, in comparison to Teofimo Lopez, I want to say 4 or 5, 6 weeks out from that fight, Teofimo Lopez was everywhere. And maybe Bud is like, man, I'm 37 and 0. I'm 33 years old. I'm undisputed at lightweight. I am all these things that I am. I don't have to pound the pavement like that. Maybe that's what his thinking is. Again, that's being a bit, that's a major blind spot, in my opinion. But I don't really know what Shakur Stevenson. How is he really promoting himself? What is he really doing? I don't know. He's just a couple of fights removed from the situation in the parking garage down in Florida or whatever. What did Pacquiao do? Again, Pacquiao is a function of having great dance partners. But is he all that promotable? I mean, is he doing a lot of promoting by himself, or is he always kind of the other guy in some favorable situations? But what does Pacquiao do? Now, if we look at Mayweather, if he says he has to do what Mayweather did, again, Mayweather in some ways benefited from fighting Oscar De La Hoya. I can't remember if there were any of the 24/7s or whatever prior to the Oscar De La Hoya. I thought that was the first one. If not, it was a very early one. But it was interest there, and that blew up. I mean, they did that, and it took off. It worked. It worked extremely well. But going into that, a lot of that focus was on Oscar De La Hoya and his popularity. And then also that this was a great matchup. This was a phenomenal matchup. So again, it's having the right partner. But what happened out of that is, as we gradually got to learn about the Mayweather family, the Mayweather lifestyle, the money made lifestyle, the money, the girlfriends, the dog pound, the Mayweather boxing club or whatever, the fleet of vehicles, 50 Cent, all of these other things came into play that made, that added to the theatrics. You ain't getting none of that out of Bud Crawford. Never. I don't care if you put 50 cameras there. None of that is going to happen. I mean, maybe you can put the camera on Mom. Mom is a character. Mom can run her mouth, but he's not going to be cussing out his mother the way that Floyd and Floyd Sr. went at it. Get the F out of my gym, and my trainer is Roger. Roger, the best trainer in the business. That's not happening with the B&B Boxing Academy or whatever. So again, all of these things developed and happened and took off and took a life of their own, and Mayweather benefited from that. I also think Bud, you know how in politics, we saw it in Georgia. where if we see it with the MVP voting in the NBA. You know, it's always the worry that two elite players on one team are kind of gonna split. I stay away from politics. But you have two elite guys on one team. How do you give one guy credit to go into, to be to be the eventual MVP, or do they offset each other and then this dude on another team is able to get it? But it's almost like Bud is not, he doesn't have the whole black boxing fan community behind it. It's split with Spence. Then mainstream America, he's not really strong there. So he's just like this good boxing dude. He's like this great boxing dude that he just is what he is. He's just not box office. And I don't see any way that he can get there. And that's another thing that could have been point number 6. None of this changes. What is he, 33 now? None of this changes in the next 6 months to 9 months. You also had this pandemic situation going on. We don't know when fans can get back in the building. It's a lot of things working against any ground being made up or improved in this situation in favor of Bud, looking better or being more popular. It's not in the cards, really. So, if there is a split here, if this, promoters and fighters bicker all the time. I mean, we just saw Canelo and Oscar, their relationship finally exploded. It looks like Ryan Garcia and Oscar De La Hoya could be next. Another thing, what is Anthony Joshua? What's so? I mean, he's obviously a heavyweight, but he's got this crystal clear. I mean, this pristine image. Now they do the great entrance with him rising up on the AJ thing with fire and the all white outfit and all. They do all of that. A couple of dope rap songs in his entrance. I mean, all of that's there. But he's not out here calling everybody out of their name and talking trash and all of that. So that's what I'm struggling with. Everybody talks about what Bud needs to do, but it's no exact formula that works for everybody. Like, it's got to be something in you that's it just takes off. It becomes its own thing. That's just not in him. It just isn't. Going back to this letter that was shared to The Athletic, when you go in and put the business, air things out in the public, that's gonna make it tough. And along those lines, what's to say about Top Rank whenever they got him out of this Middendorf situation and then had to pay portions of these events, his future fights, to Middendorf that was part of that lawsuit that came out. So, I mean, if I am Bob, I don't know, he say he's lost money, hell, NBA, NFL teams say they lose money, when we start talking about money. But he says he's lost money. He could have built this home in Beverly Hills. I believe that's what he said on the barbershop conversations thing. But, there has been some give and take in that relationship. Now it's probably at the point now, and that's the thing, like Top Rank is probably like, well, we got to ride this thing out. And another thing, we don't know, we don't know what the contractually happened on why he re-signed. Again, he's an older guy. Maybe he just re-signed out of expedience to get to the next fight versus, I'm going to take them at their word. They're going to get these fights. It's got to happen. I'm good. They're good. They want big money. I want big money. Top Rank. Maybe I don't have time, or it just doesn't seem popular or advantageous to lose a year and a half or 2 years trying to get out of this deal. I'm going to just ride it out and see what happens. But to sit here and act like him and his team are somehow incompetent or, they made this big error. Like, we really don't know all of the factors at play in making that decision. Obviously, all of these guys were over, across the street and whatnot. But again, we just don't know. One thing with him coming up, you get a title shot right away. You get to become a champion in the third division right off the rip. You don't know if that happens immediately. If he had went in another direction, we just don't know. So again, it's a lot of give and take here. Take your side, make your argument, do what you got to do, but you just don't know. And like I said, going back to point number 2, the result of this Spence Garcia fight. You can sit here and be mad and make this public and go through all of these changes in front of everybody right now for the next couple of weeks. But if we get to December 5th and Errol Spence Jr. doesn't look like Errol Spence Jr., you might got to call Bob and say, hey, you had that man, you've been in touch with many people yet? I mean, you might have to go make up. This problem could go away. What was that? Eddie Hearn was saying, if Derek Chisora could go out here and get lucky on one of these haymakers, maybe we don't even have to worry about Alexander Usyk with him being the mandatory. Maybe Danny Garcia and one of these no left hooks, you might not even have no problems come December 6th. Back to point 3, being great on fight week and fight night. It's crazy that in boxing, a guy can do his job and be a professional, made weight, no problem. Like, it's more drama and what's more acceptance and more people embracing and rooting for Tank to make weight. It's more interest in that and pushing him across the line. It takes a village to raise a child. It's 500,000 people or whatever, 350,000. It's throngs of people deeply invested in this man figuring it out, not hanging around with AB, making weight, and wanting him to be great. And then you got Terence Crawford over here, 30-something years old, comes in, no problem. Gym rat, like a true professional. That's not good enough. Bud, and it's it's messed up because Bud is almost like he'd be perfect for the San Antonio Spurs. He'd be a perfect New England Patriot. He boring as hell, just a professional, just does his job and does it well. But in boxing, that's just not enough. You gotta be the Lakers. You know what I'm saying? You gotta be the Splash Brothers. You gotta be the team with the you gotta be the super team or whatever they call it. Back to this Coppinger article saying that, Bud agreeing to fight Brook, the contract not arriving to fight night of Vasily Lomachenko and Teofimo Lopez. Again, that's just kind of working against yourself, in my opinion. I don't know if I don't know if that resonated. If that signaled, sent the right signal and changed anything with the relationship with Top Rank. But again, you're working against your own best interests in handling it in that manner. But I'm sure he felt like he did what he had to do. But again, we got people out here online and on all these channels digging in and saying that Top Rank doesn't know what they're doing. They don't know how to promote you. But if you send us the damn contract the night of the broadcast that's meant to be the springboard for your fight, and if we can't roll out the promotion on the scale that's commensurate to what you are as a fighter, well, then what are we doing here? So, like I said, this relationship could be highly fractured. But at the end of the day, Top Rank might say, and Bob might say a whole lot of things on a whole lot of channels and on a whole lot of podcasts. But at the end of the day, he's still going to be keeping an eye on. It's still a lot. He's still getting ready to do something big. We just don't know how big it's gonna be. So it's not like they're just gonna wash their hands and let you go. You know, it's not like I see the relationship ending immediately, despite the fact that this seems very disrespectful. You know, it's public. It's getting a little messy. That doesn't mean at the end of the day they got to make up. And then lastly, like I said, with this whole dance partner thing, and like I said, with Floyd, with Mayweather benefiting from things, the starting point being with Oscar De La Hoya, what has Spence really done? I mean, he went over to the UK and did the big thing with snatching the belt away from Kell Brook. But what has he really done to promote himself? What's so great about his personality? I mean, he just is quiet. He's just as boring. But what he did was he had this great partner in Mikey Garcia to be his dancing partner for his foray into pay-per-view. He didn't even work. What did he do to promote? What did Spence do to promote the fight with Porter? I didn't see him everywhere and anywhere. Porter was all over the place. Sirius XM. He was on. He was at the Cleveland Browns games. He was. I'm pretty sure he was on ESPN. He was everywhere. He was all up in New York. Spence didn't do nothing. He just trained and got ready for the fight. And then he fought his ass off on fight night. So I really just don't. It seems like the goalpost or the objective keeps changing for what Bud needs to do. And he's just not capable of doing it. That's at the end of the day, he's not capable of pulling it off. Today, he didn't show up on anything on Monday. It's Monday, the weekend after the fight. He wasn't on Sirius XM talking about what happened. He said everything he had to do, he had to say on fight night, said everything he needed to say inside the ring, and he's done. Like, how do you do that? And like I said, he's probably like, look, I'm a champion in 3 divisions. I was undisputed at 140. I'm pound for pound number 1. I stopped this dude who they thought I couldn't stop. I did it better than everybody's kind of right in this situation. He's like, I shouldn't have to work how I shouldn't have to work how Teofimo Lopez worked that Lomachenko fight. So anyway, you probably missed my 5 things. I'm getting ready to get on off of here. I don't know what the hell they do in this situation. I don't know what Bud Crawford does to improve his his appeal. It's some give and take in the relationship with Top Rank. I said it before. It becomes a. I think anybody whose name becomes bigger than the sport, or you become, one of the faces of the sport, you're gonna butt heads with your promoter, and it's probably gonna get to a stage where you may not need that promoter anymore. It happens to all of them. The only fact is we see Canelo trying to move on, and it's not as easy. Reynoso got one mind in the gym now. Now he got his the other side of his mind, and a lot of his time is over here fooling around with trying to get to secure an opponent to make this thing work. Like, it's not that easy. Not everybody can do what Mayweather did. And I'm just saying, if Bud goes over there at this stage, I just wouldn't see it being all that seamless of a transition. Like, I just don't see it being all that, like, it's just not that easy, It just ain't. The good thing is, he's still undefeated. Hopefully we'll start seeing some viewership numbers on what the fight did, see what that looks like. That's always an important part of the situation. And then you just gotta wait and see what happens on fight night with Spence and Garcia. That's kind of the next piece of the puzzle. That's it. I gotta be as boring as Bud is with it. I don't really have a horse in this race or a dog in this fight. Um, it's good that he's voicing his displeasure and speaking up and being vocal. But at the end of the day, your contract is your contract. You're 30 something, 33 years old. It's not like you can pick up and go that easily. So anyway, let me get on out of here, man. Bite down boxing. Don't let them count you out. Pay me no mind. Sports and entertainment. You don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great. Peace.